"What's in this chili?" An alien patron screamed, clutching his throat as his face turned a vivid shade of purple. The entire cafeteria froze, eyes wide with horror. Chef Amelia Watson hummed to herself as she ladled a generous portion of her extra spicy chili into a bowl. The Interstellar Cafeteria on the Galactic Unity Space Station was bustling with activity, its diverse patrons eagerly awaiting the new dish. Amelia had spent weeks perfecting the recipe, determined to introduce a touch of human culinary flair to the galaxy. "This is going to be amazing," she whispered, watching the first bowl make its way to a curious, tentacle-waving alien. She wiped her hands on her apron and turned to her staff. "Let's make sure everyone gets a taste." The cafeteria filled with the rich aroma of spices. Patrons from various species lined up, some more cautiously than others. Amelia noticed a few skeptical glances, but was undeterred. She loved the idea of bringing a piece of Earth to this melting pot of cultures. "First time trying human food?" she asked an alien with shimmering blue skin. It nodded, eyeing the chili with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Don't worry, it's got a kick, but it's worth it," she assured, smiling. Moments later, a loud, choking sound cut through the cafeteria's chatter. "What's in this chili?" An alien patron screamed, clutching his throat as his face turned a vivid shade of purple. The entire cafeteria froze, eyes wide with horror. Amelia's heart skipped a beat. "Oh no," she murmured, rushing over. "Water. Get him water." Her staff moved quickly, but the chaos had already started to spread. One alien was fanning its mouth with all 6 arms. Another had collapsed into a fit of giggles, and a third was turning a concerning shade of green. The once eager crowd now buzzed with panic. "Ambassador Harris." Someone called out as John Harris, the station's human diplomat, entered the scene. His calm demeanor contrasted sharply with the chaos around him. "Amelia, what's happening?" he asked, surveying the scene. "The chili," she said, her voice trembling. "It's too spicy for them." "I didn't anticipate such strong reactions." John nodded, his diplomatic training kicking in. "Everyone, please remain calm," he called out, his voice carrying authority. "We're handling the situation." General Exultron, the station's security chief, stormed in. "Watson, this disaster is on your hands. We must stop serving human food immediately." "Wait, please," Amelia pleaded. "Give us a chance to fix this. We can adjust the recipe." Zaltran's eyes narrowed. "You have 24 hours to resolve this, or the human section of this cafeteria is shut down for good." As Zaltran exited, Amelia turned to John, her mind racing. "We need a solution, fast. I can't let this ruin everything." "We'll figure it out," John reassured her. "First, we need to understand exactly what's causing these reactions." Amelia, John, and her staff spent the next hours gathering data, speaking to affected patrons, and analyzing the chili's ingredients. They discovered that while humans enjoyed the heat, the capsaicin levels were far too high for many alien species. The kitchen was a flurry of activity as they worked to create a milder version of the dish. Alien chefs were consulted, and new spices were tested to ensure safety and flavor. As the clock ticked down, Amelia felt a mixture of hope and anxiety. They served the revised chili to a small group of alien volunteers, watching their reactions closely. This time, there were smiles and nods of approval. "Looks like we did it," John said, smiling at Amelia. "Now we just need to convince Exultron." With the new recipe in hand, Amelia and John approached the security chief. "We've made the necessary adjustments. Please give us one more chance." Chef Amelia Watson paced the kitchen, her mind racing. The chaos caused by the spicy chili still reverberated through the station, and she knew time was running out. "We need to figure this out, fast," she muttered. Ambassador John Harris entered, carrying a stack of reports. "I've got feedback from the various species affected," he said, dropping the papers on the counter. "We need to understand why they reacted the way they did." Amelia nodded, gathering her team. "We'll start by analyzing the chili's components. Maybe there's something in the spices that caused the extreme reactions." The kitchen buzzed with activity as they dissected the dish. Amelia and her team meticulously documented each ingredient, focusing on the exotic spices imported from Earth. They discovered that capsaicin, the compound responsible for the chili's heat, interacted differently with alien physiology. "Capsaicin levels vary greatly in their effect," said Dr. Lin, a xenobiologist assisting them. "For some species, it's merely a nuisance. For others, it's a potent toxin." John read through the reports, shaking his head. "We need a solution that doesn't exclude anyone. We can't afford another incident." Amelia's eyes lit up. "What if we create a range of spice levels? From mild to hot, so patrons can choose their preference." John considered this. It could work, but we need to ensure that even the mildest version is safe for everyone. Amelia called for a break, and the team gathered in the cafeteria. "We need to collaborate with alien chefs. They know their species' dietary needs better than anyone." They reached out to several alien culinary experts on the station. Soon, chefs from different backgrounds joined them, bringing a wealth of knowledge. Together, they started experimenting with various spice levels and substitutions. In one corner, Chef Zirak, a multi-armed alien from the Othran species, suggested using a local herb as a spice substitute. "This adds flavor without the heat," Zirak explained, demonstrating its use. Amelia tasted the modified chili. "This is perfect. It retains the essence of the dish without the intensity." However, their relief was short-lived. Just as they began to see progress, alarms blared. Another wave of complaints flooded in. A species particularly sensitive to even trace amounts of capsaicin was having adverse reactions to the new version. John sighed heavily. "We need to be thorough. No room for errors." Back in the kitchen, tensions ran high. Amelia wiped sweat from her brow. "We can't afford any more mistakes. Every ingredient needs to be double-checked." Dr. Lin proposed using advanced filtering technology to remove all traces of capsaicin. "It's a tedious process, but it will ensure the dish is safe." They worked tirelessly through the night, refining the recipes and using the filters. The next morning, they presented the updated dishes to a newly formed universal taste panel comprising representatives from each species. As the panels sampled the dishes, the atmosphere was tense. Amelia watched their reactions closely. To her relief, nods of approval spread across the room. The feedback was positive finally, a version of the chili that everyone could enjoy. John turned to Amelia, smiling. "I think we've done it." Amelia let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. "We need to present this to General Exaltron and the Galactic Council. It's our only chance to save the human section of the cafeteria." As they prepared for the council meeting, Amelia reflected on the importance of understanding and respecting the diverse needs of the station's inhabitants. This culinary crisis had taught her a valuable lesson about adaptability and cooperation. Amelia and John entered General Exaltron's office, their faces set with determination. Exaltron's stern gaze met theirs as they presented their findings. "We've identified the chemical components causing the adverse reactions," John began, laying out their research. "We propose a universal taste panel to test future dishes, ensuring compatibility with all species." Exaltron leaned back, his eyes narrowing. "You have one chance. If this fails, human cuisine is permanently banned from the cafeteria." Outside, tensions were high. The Galactic Council meeting was about to begin, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Amelia felt a knot in her stomach as they walked into the grand hall. Alien representatives filled the room, their faces a mix of skepticism and curiosity. "We've called this meeting to address the culinary incident caused by the human dish, chili," the council leader announced. "Chef Watson and Ambassador Harris will present their plan to prevent future issues." Amelia stepped forward, her voice steady. "We recognize the chaos our dish caused and deeply regret it. To prevent this from happening again, we propose a universal taste panel. This panel, composed of representatives from each species, will test and approve new dishes before they're served." Murmurs spread through the room. One alien delegate stood up, his tentacles waving. "How can we trust this panel? What guarantees do we have that this won't happen again?" John responded calmly, "The panel will include experts in xenobiology to understand the unique dietary needs of each species. This collaborative approach ensures safety and respect for all cultures." After a tense silence, the council leader spoke. "We will consider your proposal. In the meantime, you may proceed with your adjustments under strict supervision." Back in the cafeteria, Amelia and her team worked tirelessly, modifying recipes with input from the newly formed taste panel. The first few days were challenging, with frequent adjustments and retests. Alien chefs contributed their knowledge, blending their culinary traditions with human techniques. One evening, Amelia found herself alone in the kitchen, exhaustion etched on her face. John walked in, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We're making progress. The council is seeing our dedication." "I just hope it's enough," Amelia sighed, stirring a pot of simmering broth. "We can't afford another mistake." The next day, the cafeteria was set to reopen with a revised menu. The atmosphere was tense as patrons cautiously approached the serving line. Amelia watched nervously as the first alien took a bite of the adjusted chili. A smile spread across its face, followed by nods of approval from others. Just as relief began to settle in, a commotion erupted. A delegation of aliens, known for their sensitivity to certain spices, was showing signs of distress. Panic threatened to engulf the cafeteria once again. John quickly stepped in, calming the crowd. "Please remain calm. We have medical staff on standby." Amelia rushed to the affected aliens, offering water and antihistamines. "We'll adjust the recipe further," she promised. "Your feedback is invaluable." The situation was contained, but it was a stark reminder of the delicacy required in their task. That evening, the team gathered to reassess their strategy. "We need to be even more meticulous," John said, determination in his eyes. They worked late into the night, fine-tuning each dish. The following days saw a gradual increase in positive feedback. Trust began to rebuild as patrons experienced the improved, safer menu. At the end of the week, Amelia and John presented their progress to the Galactic Council. The leader nodded approvingly. "You have shown commitment and adaptability." The taste panel was an excellent initiative. "We're not just feeding the station," John said, smiling. "We're building bridges." Amelia nodded, her heart swelling with pride. "And we're just getting started." The Interstellar Cafeteria hummed with anticipation as Chef Amelia Watson and her team made final adjustments to the revised recipes. The air was thick with the aroma of diverse dishes, each meticulously crafted to ensure no species would face adverse reactions. Amelia's brow furrowed in concentration as she tasted the new, milder version of the infamous chili. "Perfect," she murmured, nodding to her staff. Ambassador John Harris entered the kitchen, his expression one of cautious optimism. "How are we looking, Amelia?" "We've tested every dish. This time, we're ready," she replied, her voice steady with determination. Outside, the Galactic Council gathered for the presentation. Amelia and John took their places before the assembled representatives, their revised plan and new dishes ready for scrutiny. John began, "We stand here today, having learned valuable lessons about cultural sensitivity and culinary diplomacy. Our new approach ensures the safety and enjoyment of all patrons. Amelia followed, presenting the dishes with confidence. We've incorporated feedback from the Universal Taste Panel and consulted with culinary experts from various species. These recipes reflect our commitment to inclusivity and respect. Council members sampled the dishes, their expressions ranging from curiosity to delight. The positive feedback was palpable. General Exaltron, ever the skeptic, took a cautious bite of the new chili. His eyes widened in surprise. This is excellent," he admitted, grudging respect in his voice. The tension eased, replaced by an atmosphere of hope and renewal. As the meeting concluded, the Galactic Council approved the new protocols for interspecies cuisine. The cafeteria was set to reopen with a grand ceremony, symbolizing a new era of unity. The day of the reopening arrived, and the cafeteria buzzed with excitement. Patrons from across the galaxy gathered to taste the newly adapted dishes. Amelia moved through the crowd, her heart swelling with pride as she watched different species enjoy the food without incident. John joined her, a satisfied smile on his face. "We did it, Amelia. We turned a crisis into an opportunity for growth." She nodded, looking around at the bustling cafeteria. "This is what it's all about, John. Bringing people together, one meal at a time." Amid the celebration, a new challenge emerged. A delegation from a previously uncontacted species arrived, curious about the human cuisine that had caused such a stir. Their leader, a tall, elegant being with iridescent skin, approached Amelia. "We have heard much about your food. We wish to understand it better." Amelia smiled warmly. "Welcome. We'd be honored to share our culinary traditions with you." The delegation sampled the dishes, their reactions positive. The leader, impressed, said, "Your commitment to understanding and respect is evident. We look forward to future exchanges." As the event drew to a close, Amelia and John stood on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. The challenges they had faced seemed distant now, replaced by a sense of accomplishment and purpose. "Are we ready for the next challenge?" John asked, a twinkle in his eye. Amelia laughed softly. "Absolutely. Whatever comes our way, we'll face it together."